So let's start the npm start for our project. And once npm start will run, it will open the web browser with our project files, and then we will manipulate it. Okay, so this is my app.js. It will show the variable username and gender. This is the main page, which will show the username as my username and age as my age. This username and age is coming from this app.js. And in the users page also, I am displaying my username and gender. So there are three components. One is app, one is main, and user. And user and main page are getting the variables from the app.js. How they are getting the variables? In the form of props. And how we are sending the props? We are sending the props to the component using these two variables. So I'm passing these two variables, and for the user also I'm passing these two variables into the main page and into the user page respectively. And these variables are created in the app.js. Remember, the variables will always be created in the main component or any other component, and it is passed to other components using the props. Also remember, the variable can be changed in the state level. It cannot be changed in the props level. So if you want to change, see, variable is coming here as this.props.username. You cannot really do like this. This.props.username is equal to Diana. Here I am changing the props value. So this is wrong. This is not allowed in the React. We cannot change the value of props anytime in the React world. If I want to change the username, I have to change in the app.js by changing the state username, which will automatically go to the main and user as a props, and it will automatically change the this.props.username. I cannot really hard code, or I cannot really forcefully change the props username, though the result will be changed, but this is not allowed. We should not do this way. We should not change the props username in the component. We should always change the state, and then state will automatically pass the new variable, and that new variable will go to the main.js as a props. So it is always recommended to change the state, not the props. Props will remain as it is, and it is only for the display purpose. Now, before I show you how to change the username from the main page, I will show you how to change the username from the app.js. So in the app.js, I will create same thing, this two fields. So here I am changing the two fields. One is called as username and age. If you see the browser, this is something we are doing in the app. This is something in the main page. This is user page. So how to change it from the main page, I will show you later. First, see how can we change the username and age from the app page. So let's say we are here in the app page, and now we want to change the username here. So I will create one function which will change the username. So let's create one function. The name of the function will be change username. And here I'm passing new name. In this function, I'll pass new name. Let's create another function of changing the age. So I will say change age. And I will pass here new age. Now, I have to change the username if I call this function. I have to change the age if I call this function. I cannot also do this. I can say this dot state dot username is equal to new name. This is valid in the normal JavaScript, but this is not allowed in the React. We cannot really change the state username by using this statement. This is not the correct statement to update the state value. To update the state value, we have to use a function, and that function is like this. This dot set state, and I put a round bracket, and inside that round bracket, I will create a curly bracket, and here in the curly bracket, I will update whatever key I want to update. So for example, here I want to update the username. So I can say username colon, and here I will pass the new name. So what I'm doing, I'm saying this dot state round bracket, then curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket, I'm saying username with the new value. And this is not the right statement. I will remove this. If I want to update the age, I can say this dot set state. I'll start with round bracket, close the round bracket. Then here I have curly bracket start, curly bracket end, and here I will say age of new age. So it will get the new age. Once the state will be changed, all the values in all the components will be again updated with the new value. Now, how to call this username function in the inside this input box? So I can say here inside this, I can say like this. Check here what I'm saying. I want to update the username. That means I want to call the function. Which function I want to call? I want to call this change username function. So I will say on change equal to something. I will write down something. I will put curly bracket right now, but I will put something. Now tell me whether this value is correct or wrong. Is there any mistake in this value, or this value is correct? Do you see any mistake in this value?
Does there need to be like camel case or something?
No. There's some other mistake. One second.
Sure.
1 second, hold on. Okay, now again look at it and tell me what you feel, that what is the problem with this statement?
State?
Yes, state is the problem, because props will only come into the main component and the user component. We are passing this to another component. So state this props will come inside the main and user component. The state will props will not come here. So instead of this dot props, I have to write this dot state dot username, because in this page we have state, and here also I can say this dot state dot age. So these are the two things we have to change if I want to use it here. But if I want to use it in the main page, I will use this dot props, because here there is no state. We are getting the value from the previous component. Since we are getting the value from the previous component, it will go here as this dot props dot username or this dot props dot age. Now, on change, when I say on change, I need to call this function. So how to call this function? There is a special way to call this function, and that way is called this dot name of the function, that is the change username dot, right, dot, I will say bind. I have to use the bind, and after bind, I will say this. So what is the way to call this function? What is the way to call this function? The way to call this function is this dot change username dot bind dot this. Now, since I am passing this will go here as an event. So here I cannot put the new name. Here I have to say E. or event or E. And the name will be present. Let's see where is the name present. I will put console.log of E. E is, so the value which you change here will go here in the form of E something, maybe E dot X or E dot Y. We will see how it is coming. Let's not update the state right now. What I will do on change, I will call this function change username, and inside this change username, I will say this dot change username dot bind, and this is something called as, we are sending this input box, and it will go here as a E, and we have to see how is the value of input box coming inside the E. So if I refresh the page, I will do the console.log. So whenever I will change, okay, you have provided a prop in the form field on change. Okay, forget this about for some time. So I change the value to S. I put MANNYS, though it's not appearing, you're not able to see it, but I put S to see what is coming in the E. Now it's saying E is inside the target. Let's see where is the value coming inside the E. Okay, it's not displaying properly. Let's let me do E.target, and let's see what's coming now. Okay, so if I put E.target, it's showing input text box value many. If I say E.target dot value, let's see what it is coming. So it is coming manys. So the real value which comes after the change of this input box is in this field. So this is the field which gives me the value of this input box. So if I want to retrieve whatever I'm typing here, it should be E.target.value. So remember, E.target.value is the main thing. So if I want to change the username, I have the value of username coming here, E.target.value. So I can say, now I will remove the console.log. I say this dot set state username is equal to E.target.value. When I say E.target.value, that means whatever change value will happen in this input box will go as a E.target.value, and username will be updated with the new value which user has typed it. Now let's check this. Okay, it's giving some error. It should be round bracket is wrong here because I have to use curly bracket and then round bracket. Now I will say manys. When I say manys, you will see the state is changed, username to manys. If I change to John, you will see whenever I change it, the state is showing in the console.log and username is set with the new value of the username. Why state is appearing every time when I change? Because whenever there is a state change, this render function is called again. And since render function is called again, this part is called again, you are able to see multiple status like this. Let's change it to maybe Carry. So that means username is changed to Carry here. And as soon as I change it, state is changed with a new value. I can say Kate. So, you know, here also it's changing, here also it's changing, everywhere it is changing. I am changing only here. It is appearing change in all the places. So what I did, I created the input box with the default value as state username, and on change, I am calling the function this and here I'm passing event, and the value of the change variable is present in the e.target.value. So whenever I want to get the new value, I will use this parameter e.target.value to see what is there in the input box, to see the new value in the input box. Same thing we will do with the age. I will say e here, and instead of age, new age, I will say e.target.value. This is common for all the input box. We will get the value in this format. And here I will say on change equal to this dot change age, and I will pass this dot bind. I will pass this. If you don't pass dot bind, it will not work. You have to use dot bind. Whenever you create a function and whenever you are using it as function here, you have to use dot bind word. Now, if I change the age, okay, what is the problem here? Let's see. Okay. Let me delete these two from here for now. I will add it again later. Because of the error was coming. So now if I change something, the username is changed and it is appearing here as a changed one. It looks a little difficult now for you, but when we do multiple examples of this kind, you will feel very easy and very entertaining. Now, I will write down the steps which I did so that you can. I will give you the notes of this tomorrow, because if I give you notes, it is written something advanced which I want to explain you today and tomorrow. And if I give you notes, you will not understand the whole process. So the topic which I am doing today and which I will do tomorrow, I have notes for that. But if I give you today, you will not understand it. So let me give you that notes tomorrow. So just write down, try to understand it. Tomorrow you will practice more by watching that example. Now what I did, I created variable in which place? It's here to answer me. Where did I started to create the state variable? In which function? In which function I created the state variable?
The app.js?
App is a component. In app component, which function I started to write the state variable? I created a state variable in which function inside the app component?
Constructor?
Constructor. Yeah, constructor. Constructor is a function. This is not a function. This is the variable.
Okay. Oh.
So inside the constructor, I have started creating the state variable. Constructor take value as a props, and we have to get super props. These are the fixed statement which we have to call inside the constructor. If you don't pass this, it will not work properly. Now, state is created in the constructor. Whenever there is a change in the state, whether render function will be called again or no, yes or no. Whenever there is a change in the state, for example, username is changed or age is changed, whether render function is recalled again or no. Whether React calls the render function again after change of state, yes or no.
I would say no.
If I change this,
wrong?
if I change this manys, you will see state is showing something and this state is coming here. What that means? Because I'm changing the username and I'm able to see this part. That means whenever I change the state, this render function is called again and again. Whenever I'm changing the state, I'm changing the username, which is changing the state by calling this function. And since the state is changed, render function is called again. Is that clear?
Yes.
So whenever there is a state change, React call this render function again. And when render function is called again, that means the new variable is passed to main component and the new variable is passed to user component. And that is the reason we are able to see the new username and new password in the main page and user page. Okay, another question. So when we change the state, then render is called again. If I have created any function and if I want to call function inside the render, I have to use this bind word to that function name. So this is a function name, this dot username, change username. I have to attach the bind and I have to pass this forcefully. If you don't pass this, it will not work. And this will go as an event here, and to see the value of the changed variable, I can use e.target.value. So whatever user has changed, I can see that we change value as e.target.value. Is it clear? Though you have to practice, I know, but whatever I'm explaining, is that clear? That whenever I need to call the function name, I need to pass dot bind and this compulsory. Pardon?
It will take practice.
Yeah, it will need practice, but I want to just explain that I created a function name. To call this function name, I will use this dot change username and I have to use dot bind. If I don't use dot bind, it will not work. And I have to pass this inside the bind. If I don't pass it, it will not work. So right now, try to do this exercise. You have main page and user page. I will give you app page now. Try to do this exercise. When I am done with this real thing which I want to explain, it is still in the half. When I want to complete this, then you will better understand what exactly I am trying to say. Okay. Now, don't remember too much. Only remember, we create the variable, state variable inside the constructor. We create different functions. We create different functions inside the component to update the state. And once state is updated, the render function is called again. Once state is updated, render function is called again. And how we are updating the state? We are not saying this dot state dot username equal to blah blah blah. We are saying this dot state set state. We call a special function called as this dot set state, and inside this set state we pass a curly bracket. And inside the curly bracket, because it's an object, inside the curly bracket we can use key value pair to update the state. Got this point? So what we learn the state, we learn the functions, we create different functions to update the state. I think my mouse is not working properly. I create different functions to update the state, and then once state is updated, I call the render function. React call the render function again. And how we are updating the state? We are updating the state by calling this dot set state, and we are putting the key value pair to update the new value. This much only you have to remember. Is this clear?
Yeah.
I know you need to practice it, but these are the steps. Yeah, these are the steps which you need to remember, kind of thing. We will do hundreds of such problems, and then it will be easy for you to remember. Right now, just try to understand what I am trying to say. If you do 1 time, 2 time, 100 times, if you do same thing practice, you will remember it by heart, and it will be easy for you later to work on the same example.